Okay, guys, I think that we can.
Hello. Hello,
Hello.
Anna.
Ciao.
Hello.
How are you?
Fine, fine. You?
Fine. I'm looking for a job, but fine.
As all, don't worry. Okay, guys. Gerardo is joining the meeting. Okay, we are 24 people. I think that we can start. So, Alex, we are recording. Is right? Yes. Okay. So, okay, guys, welcome to the second webinar of the e-learning course of the project Disarty. I'm so happy to be here with all of you for this the second webinar. Before starting, just remember that each webinar is going to be recorded. So next week you will find the video recorded of the webinar in the learning platform. So remember always this. Now, today it's a great honor because we have a guest and we have a speaker from Mexico, Mr. Eliseo Hernandez. And but before starting the work, it's good that we refresh our mind and we remember our name. And but now, not only your name, now we want to know something about you, and in particular, if you should be a superhero, what superpower would you like to have? For example, I am Antonio, and and I would to transform some part of my body in an object. For example, if I need a hammer, I want to change my hand in a hammer. For example. So, for example, Lorena.
Hello, everybody. My name is Lorena, and would like to have the superpower of eating everything I want without gaining weight.
Oh, great. Diana.
Hello, my name is Diana, and my superpower is read the mind of the people.
Great. And now, Carlos.
Hi, I would like to have the superpower of disappear, be invisible.
Great. And now, Michalis, the birthday man.
Well, since it's my birthday, I would like the superpower to not get old.
Great. And now, have a blessed day. We cannot hear you. Please.
I'm sorry for that. Okay, so I'm Jovi Bless, and I think I would like the superpower of Mystica from the X-Men. So,
wow.
So to change myself to anybody I would like to be. That's all.
Great. And now, Mali Cisneros.
Good morning, good afternoon, and maybe good night. If I had a superpower, I would love to have transportation to whatever part of the world I want to be.
Great. Especially for an Erasmus, it's okay. It's perfect. And and now, Hero.
If I could give a chance to have a superpower, I will be myself a hero that will that will stop disasters, especially in these prone areas. Thank you.
Oh, that's great. And now, Alex.
Okay, so I would like to have the superpower of being a super dancer, so I could adapt to all kind of music and start dancing like crazy.
But you are. Okay, and now Maria.
Hi, everybody. If I would be a superhero, I would like to fly, but I would like to look like Wonder Woman. Fly and be looking like Wonder Woman.
Oh, great. And now Tania Acuña Estrada.
I wish I had the superpower to fly.
Oh, great. And now Andrea.
Okay, I would like to have the superpower of running very fast.
Oh, great. And now our guest, Eliseo.
Hi, everyone. My name is Eliseo, and maybe I would like to fly around the world.
Oh, that's great. And now Jennifer.
Hello. If I'm going to have a superpower, I would like to read everybody's mind. That's it.
Oh, that's great. That's great. And now Elena.
I would like to have the superpower of teletransportation.
Perfect for the Erasmus again. And now Rolando.
Hello, good day, everyone. I'm from Philippines. If I will be a superhero, I wish I have a superpower of teleportation to help others. Thank you.
Thank you. And now Annalisa.
Hi, I'm Annalisa. I'm from Italy. And I'd like to have ubiquity.
Ah, yes.
Yes, because I have my family there. There is my sister in another place and my boyfriend in another. And I'd like to stay with everything in the same moment.
Yes, that's great. That's great. It's a very important reason. And now Jesus.
Hello, everybody. I would like to have super strength.
Oh, that's great. And now Vincenzo from Italy. Okay, maybe Vincenzo cannot hear us. Gerardo?
Hi, Antonio.
Okay, hi. Tell us a superpower.
I am Gerardo. Hi, I'm Gerardo from Italy, Pegaso Online University.
Which kind of superpower you would have or you would like?
Which kind
of superpower?
Of super. I don't know.
You are a superhero.
No, absolutely no.
Okay, guys. Okay, Jerry.
Thank you.
Ci vuoi pensare? Alessandro from Italy.
Hi, I'm Alessandro. I come from Ravello in Amalfi Coast, and I would like to have the power of King's Mida, turn everything into gold.
Great, great. And now Bernadette from Philippines.
Everyone. So if I'm given a superpower, so I'd rather go for a superpower that possesses strength and speed.
Great. Congratulations. And Liza, always from Philippines.
Hello, everyone. I'm Liza from the Philippines. Hello from Slovenia. If I'm gonna be a superhero, I think I wanna be Elsa from Frozen, like to have like the ability to freeze anything and make snow. Like as you know, Philippines don't have winter, so it's really nice for us Filipinos to experience the winter and snow.
Oh, so good. So from now you will be Liza. Let us know. Or Liza. Let us know. Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. And now Schoenstatt from Mexico.
Yes, if I wanna fly,
Oh.
I'm going to each country because I am a runner, and the superpower to fly is amazing.
Ah, that's great. That's amazing. And now, always from Mexico, Ivan.
Hey everyone, my name is Ivan. If I was a superhero, I would like to fly and also to duplicate like things, so I could have like a lot of money, tons of food, many houses, something like that to give the people. I mean, what would I do with too many things?
That's awesome. Okay, guys, thank you so much. Okay, so before moving to the presentation of today, I ask you just 5 minutes of attention before moving to Lorena and Eliseo. Some organizational aspects, guys. Okay, the first one from this week. You will always have at your disposal the contents of the modules in the learning platform. So please make the access to the learning platform. Let us know if there is something that you cannot do or if you have problems accessing the platform. But all documents of module 1, 2, and also 3 of next week are at your disposal in the learning. So please access and download the documents and study the documents. This is the first one. The second thing, guys, from today, we are starting in the second part of the webinar. We always work in the project work about a case study. Starting from today, until the 6th webinar, we will work about the Bohol case study. As you remember, last week we had a work in the 4 groups. The most selected community was Bohol, and as you know, in the framework of the project, the final transnational meeting will be in Bohol, affected, as you know, by this terrible typhoon. So from today until the final webinar, we will work always in about the Bohol case study, and always divided in 4 rooms. This is important because this is something that we can use to design and develop not all the activities that we are going to make in Bohol, but in general to apply practically all the skills and information, all the things that you are going to acquire during this e-learning course and through the access to the e-learning platform. And from this point of view, we will have a final webinar after these 5 webinar planned. We will have a final webinar with the results of the project work, where we can discuss the results, the ideas, the proposals, to make some questions, to clarify some doubts, and in general, to have like a final moment after the course, just for understanding in which sense, in how and what we have acquired during these 5 webinars. And finally, as you know, the e-learning course is not only the webinar, but it's also as an asynchronous activity. So the activity that you can do autonomously, individually, in two ways. The first one is, I repeat, to access the platform, to download the documents and study the documents. The second one is to do something practically. So starting from this week, we will send you a form that you have to fill in during these 4 webinars and to present in the final webinar about a case study individual. So what we ask you to work at your home individually about a community in your country affected by a natural disaster, and to use all the information and all the theory and the practical tools acquired during the webinar, you can use to develop and design a community-based tourism in a place in your country. So this is something that you can do individually. So we will, and this is the practical work that you can do not during the webinar. So this is, after this webinar, we will send you an email with all the detailed and specific information about this. So the idea is that we will have 2 ways of working. One in asynchronous way with the individual case study of your country, and the other one is the synchronous way, so the synchronous work project about the island of Bohol, and joining especially the presence of our friends from Philippines that they are leaving these terrible typhoons in the month of December. Let me know if it's everything clear, but we can, of course, make questions and have some minutes for the discussion later. But if you have a question, you can now, or I don't receive. So Lorena, please, is the moment of our speaker. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Antonio. So guys, for this webinar, it's a pleasure to welcome our speaker from Mexico, Eliseo Hernandez, who will talk us about the topic of our first model, natural disaster and community-based tourism. Eliseo has a degree in economics from the Universidad Autónoma Metropolitana. He's a specialist in applied econometrics from the Universidad Nacional Autónoma de México, and he has a master's degree in public policies from the Universidad Iberoamericana. He has great experience in evaluation and monitoring of social development programs, and works as professor in the Faculty of Economics at the Universidad Iberoamericana. Currently, he is director of Econometrica Consultancy, which is a company dedicated to community development through solutions for municipal governments and civil society organizations. So now is the turn of Eliseo, who will start his presentation.
Thank you, Lorena. Good morning, everyone. I would like to share with you a slide. If I want to, this, it is okay, my PowerPoint?
Yes.
Perfect.
Hello.
Yes.
It's perfect. You can start.
Thank you. Today we're talking about restoring disaster areas through community-based tourism. In this session, I would like to explain you some ideas about this topic about natural disasters. In the first part, we talk about introduction, effects of natural disasters, some data about impact of natural disasters, CBT, like is a community-based tourism, what is a community-based tourism, and benefits of community-based tourism, and finally, we're talking about best practices in Mexico in this session, right? We start. In this model, guys, we are talking about the tourism that is determined by a wide range of factors, as you know, and forces, including ones that have not direct linked to the tourism sector. For example, it's very important to talk about natural disasters, because when you talk for different examples of determinate, they have profound effects on individuals and society. When a natural disaster or another type of crisis occurs, the country and the spectators losing thousands of visitors. For example, in Mexico and the other parts of the world, when these disasters occur, which locally implies significant economic losses, with local communities being the most vulnerable and affected in these cases, right? In this module, we analyze the effects of natural disasters and other critical events in the tourism sector and learn about the recovery strategy promoted by joint-led community-based tourism. This is an idea. We would like to analyze different topics. For in this session, we would like to see that all the strategies to promote ideas for recovery cities, like living in a natural disasters. Well, in this sense, we need to develop key competencies for the implementation of the community tourism model in contexts affected by natural disasters and other critical events. We are talking about what is the impact in social and economic terms, what are the principles of community-based tourism, how can community-based tourism be a reactivation strategy in disaster areas, how to identify opportunities that are available for the development of community-based tourism, and what is the role of June in the development of community-based tourism strategies. Well, for example, in earthquakes, tsunamis, floods, bushfires, hurricanes, and another one that we have in this planet, these events have formed part of the wider riskscape that humans have learned to manage and live with. However, more recently, the impacts of disaster have increased substantially, generated by the effects of climate change. Disasters constitute abrupt changes that shock the system in which tourism is embedded. We can see that the slide, the natural extent of impacts depend on the type of shock and the resilience of the affected system. Most disasters have profound impacts on individuals, organizations, and communities, and consequently on tourism activities. The disasters and other forms of crises like epidemics, for example, conflict, pollution, and another one, have the ability to affect the proper functioning of operation and results of sectors of the economy. By its very nature, tourism is vulnerable sector to a wide range of crises than another industry. The appearance of crisis can become more frequently. For example, if we saw any papers about this idea, Masochi and Montini analyzed the impact on visits to the Umbria Central region in Italy following a major earthquake in September 1997 the data showed that arrivals fall dramatically in this first month after the main impact. A case study of a volcanic eruption glacier in Ireland in March in 2010 showed that the number of torrents dropped by 49% of 1 year later. Juan Amin analyzed in September 1999 an earthquake in Taiwan using an integrated moving average model. For example, in this case, you can see this kind of papers that is very technically because they use a lot of data to try to analyze and explore these topics. And their study revealed that the island in both arrivals had not yet fully recovered from the devastation of the earthquake after 11 months. In these cases, you can see the disaster when it's in a specific time. You can see that all these disasters maybe have a full impact in the 1 or 2 years after the impact. So Cushen also used a time series model to investigate the effects of infection disease, such as avian flu and severe acute respiratory syndrome on international tourism arrivals to Asia. The empirical results indicate that the number of affected cases had a significant impact in the case of SARS, but for avian flu. Next one, according to the World Tourism Barometer, the international tourists arrivals fell by 75% in January to October in 2020. Low traveler confidence and important restriction on travel is still in place due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The impact represents, and this is very important because we can try to analyze these disasters, but with a lot of data, right? The impact, it was like 900 million fewer international tourist arrivals and translates into a loss of 935 USA billion in export revenues from international tourists, more than times lost in 2009 under the impact of the global economic crisis. Well, according to the report by the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development, the drop in international tourism due to the coronavirus pandemic could cause a loss of more than $4 trillion in global GDP during the last 2 years. It's very important that because a lot of people cancel travels and the impact is estimated in this sense, right? The report published in conjunction with World Tourism Organization states that international tourism at its highly linked sectors suffered an estimated loss of 2.4 trillion in 2020. We can see in the map, in this map, we check that different level of drop on international tourism arrivals. For example, in Americas, we lost 68%. Maybe in Middle East, 70%. Well, we continue with this webinar. In the short term, and it is very important to analyze or try to difference the effects in the short term and the long term, right? Because it's in this kind of sectors, like tourist sectors, we can see that in short term, the consequences in business and tourist destination can be economic losses caused by the decrease in arrival of tourists, cancellation of reservation, loss of confidence or by efforts related to return to the destination or business to normal. However, in the long term, the effect of this disaster is funding, because it has been proven that tourism is also a sector with a great capacity to recover. In this sense, it's very important, this sector, because as you can see, the tourism sector is recovery early when we have this kind of situation. The crisis generated by the catastrophe events in tourism destination could represent an opportunity to guide consumers and suppliers of the chain towards the path of sustainability. The tourism, in this sense, can be an instrument, of recovery that takes into account the balance between the needs of the side of people and the long-term conservation of the environment and resources. In this context, guys, the development of community-based tourism is viewed as a strategy in the process of human reactivation in disaster-affected areas. The tourism development that involves the participation of the local population can promote several important objectives. In this slide, we can see that the faster economic growth in the regions, improved well-being and equity, empowerment of the local population, valorization of community assets, conservation of resources, and diversification of the tourism product. You can see these important topics, like when this sector tries to recover, it's very important to see all the aspects, because when you try to do a project in a local community, you can see a lot of things, and it's very important to see, for example, the valorization of community assets, because when you try to have a real impact in this time, in this kind of communities, it is very important, a lot of the assets in these countries, right? Then the community-based tourism is proposed as a formal sustainable tourism, which seeks on the hand to improve the socioeconomic development of the population in the local communities of the destination. And on the other, it aims to preserve and promote respect for natural resources, heritage, and culture through its enhancement and the implementation of new sustainable forms of management. Well, the development community tourism in disadvantaged areas can help to economic resources in local population, thus contributing to the social and economic development of the population and the destination. In addition, this form of tourism can generate greater awareness of the local community. Well, we try to see this video. Maybe we try to reproduce this video.
The world is full of incredible places, but so many travellers go to the same ones. At Intrepid, we want to take the path less travelled, not just to avoid the crowds, but to empower the local people. We want to create the best travel experience ever. We want travellers to do and see incredible things, and for those experiences to have positive social and economic impacts on the host communities they visit. Community-based tourism, or CBT, is a type of tourism activity owned and managed by the community for the community. CBT contributes to community well-being by creating jobs, preserving cultural heritage and protecting the environment. For travellers, CBTs are an authentic look into local life that's a truly unique experience.
လုပ်ငန်းဖြစ်တယ်ဒီလုပ်ငန်းကတဦးတယောက်တည်းအတွက်ရည်ရွယ်တာမဟုတ်ဘူးအများဒီလုံးမဲ့ကြီးရွာလူတွေရဲ့ဖွံ့ဖြိုးရေးနဲ့ဒီဒေသကိုကောင်းအောင်လုပ်ပေးမဲ့ CBT လူလူခြေပြုခေတ်သွားလုပ်ငန်းဆိုတာကိုကျွန်မရှင်းပြမှာဖြစ်ပါတယ် ဒီကျမတွေ့ကြုံတဲ့ကျမဆိုရင်ပို့ပြီးတော့တောင်ပြောစရာတွေရှိတယ်။ကျမကကတော့ဆိုရင်ဒါကျောင်းကလည်းတပိုင်းတစ်စနဲ့ထွက်ခဲ့တာဆိုတော့ကိုယ်ပိုင်းလုံလည်းမရှိဘူး။ဘုံကလည်းမရှိဘူး။ကိုသုံးချင်မျိုးသားစီရတောင်းတယ်ကိုမိဘတစ်ဆက်တောင်းတယ်။ကို CBD လုပ်ငန်းလုပ်လာတော့ကျတော့ဒီဖွဲ့ထဲမှာလည်းပါတယ်ဒီ CDN ကကျမတို့အရှင်ရိတ်ကနေဒါရကန်းတနန်းပို့တဲ့အတွက်ကျမအဲ့ဒီမှာလည်းဝင်တဲ့အတွက်ကျတော့အဲ့ဒီဘက်ကလည်းဝင်ရတယ်။ဟိုဖြစ်ခဲ့တဲ့အတွက်ကျမတို့ရကျမကတော့ရင်းနဲ့စာလို့ရှိရင်အခုဆိုလို့ရှိရင်အကုန်လုံးဟိုကကိုယ့်ရဲ့ဘယ်လိုဆိုတာအကြံဉာဏ်တွေထုတ်ဖော်ပြရတယ်လို့နော်ဂုဏ်တွေအများကြီးရှိပါတယ်လို့
Travelers can go on a bike ride, plant trees, and enjoy delicious home-cooked meals. Being isn't your typical tourist attraction, but that's exactly what makes it so special. It's an amazing opportunity for visitors to see how their travel can be a force for good.
ဒီရွာရဲ့လိုအပ်ချက်တွေဖြစ်တဲ့ဒီလေးစမီနဲ့ပတ်သက်တဲ့လုပ်ငန်းတွေကိုလည်းကျမတို့စပြီးတော့ကောင်းတယ်ပေါ်ခဲ့ပြီးပါပြီ။မြန်မာနိုင်ငံမှာဆိုကျမတို့အမျိုးသမီးတွေဆိုရင်စွမ်းဆောင်နိုင်ရည်တွေလည်းအများကြီးရှိပါတယ်။စွမ်းဆောင်မှုတွေကလည်းပေါ်ပြမယ်ဆိုရင်လည်းအများကြီးရှိပါတယ်လို့ကျမတို့ပြောတယ်။
Well, as you can see in this video, we try to see that in these local areas, it's very important to analyze the assets that they have. But I think that the principal idea is to empowerment or try to generate different maybe abilities for these guys or for these people, because when you are in a local area and you want to try to have a social intervention, it's very important to talk with the local people, right? And try to understand what is the ability or what is the kind of jobs that they want to work, right? We have in this slide that the benefits of community based tourism is we have in this session 6 benefits. The first one is the economy benefits that CBT provides employment opportunities, revenue generation. It also helps to diversify the economic activities beyond farming, which reduce risk in years when climate change produces low or no yield. The second one is the environment, like the conservation of the environment, awareness, and wildlife protection are all great benefits of CBT. Another one is the social benefits. You can see that the CBT provides people with skills training, opportunities for community infrastructure development, like power, roads, sanitation, water, and health benefits like water and waste management education. Another one is the female and young empowerment. One of the great results in this empowerment of women and young in the community, as they are often largely responsible for the management and generation of the experience and therefore the income. The preservation of culture and identity. Often CBT prevents young people in communities living for larger cities by providing employment opportunities for them locally, in addition to valuing to the assets of their context, the sense of identify the reforms. Maybe this benefit is very important because when we try to analyze different cities or different countries, we can see that it's very common that all the people in these local areas try to travel and try to move with his family to another big country, because they think that or they have a lot of opportunities in other cities, but For example, in Mexico, we can see that these large cities, we have a lot of problems because in this kind of cities, the people live in very little houses, and they have a lot of kind of problems, right? Finally, we try to see this best practices is in Quiquil, in Yucatan, Mexico. In Quiquil, well, the idea is to try to see that the CBT is very important, right? And in this case, we try to explain you this example. Is only a best practice, but you try to analyze and identify another kind of best practice, right? Quiquil is a hidden paradise in the eastern of Yucatan. The community, as you can see, with less than 200 inhabitants, is located about 2 hours from Merida. The place keeps many stories of the Franciscan friars in was of the first church founded, and the most paradise in the surrounding municipalities depended on it. The place offers a museum with the pieces that were rescued from the church. Well, the most attractive thing about the place, it is open cenote with a deep graded than 50 meters, a diameter of just over 30 meters, and a distance from the surface to the water mirror of about 6 meters on average. Unlike other tourist cenotes, it preserves its natural characteristics without modification, and its original flora and fauna, which is like lowers and natural and ecological tourism. Well, in 2015, a cooperative was formed, and this is the best practice. I was formed with 13 families from the community, and with the support they received at the time from the Commission of Indigenous People, they managed to improve the cenote and turn it into a tourist paradise. From being a dirty place full of mud and the heading place to young people to get drunk, it became a tourist attraction and source for income for the families on this community, right? As part of this attraction, the cenote has host major ceremonies such as the Chachak is a local ceremony to ask for water and the region. Currently, the cenote is and the Franciscan Church receive the visit of the national and international tourists who are amazed by the place. Well, guys, this is my presentation. Maybe we analyze or review a lot of topics and ideas, but the principal idea is that when you have or when you analyze this sector, the tourism sector, it's very important to see all the assets, maybe to the local communities. It's very important to try to analyze the local context, and then try to propose maybe local activities that the empowerment the people in these areas, right? Well, thank you very much. Thank you, Antonio, and maybe we can to continue for another activities, Antonio.
Okay, thank you so much, Eliseo. Thank you very much. I think that the presentation was very fully, because we touched for this first time the two main topics of this project, so the community-based theory and the natural disaster, how a natural disaster can affect the community, and what are the main benefits, and the lot of benefits that an alternative to a strategy as the community-based theory can provide to a community after a natural disaster. And so starting from the theory about these two main topics, we can move to the practical approach, to the practical work of the project. And before moving in the work groups, and so to move to the project work, I show you briefly the case study about the island of Bohol, and I'm going to share you my my screen, so I will show you a presentation. But at any time, I ask to our friend from Philippines to comment. Feel free to comment, integrate, and to put additional information about this very important case study. I ask just to Alex to allow me to share my screen. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, guys. But before starting, I'm going to send you in the chat.
I send the case study.
Okay, and I send the link of Padlet for the.
No, the Padlet no.
Okay, so I send.
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, so give me just one moment, and we move to the. Because we have to change something. Okay, we move to some. Okay, so I ask to all the participants to copy the link that I am sending you, because you will use this Padlet for the work in the during the project work. But we move to our case study, which is the Bohol Island in Philippines.
Please download the case study individually.
Yes, I can say, but we can start before with the presentation. Oh, guys, Bohol is in the Philippines. Is an island located in the central Visayas region, and is the 10th largest island of the Philippines. It's an amazing, it's a fantastic place in Philippines. Bohol is one of the main touristic attractions in the country. Very popular at touristic level. Is a very important touristic destination with the chocolate hills, for example, which are some mounds of brown colored limestone formations. These formations can be seen by land or by air via the ultralights or tourists. It presents a large number of tourist resorts. So we have a flow of tourists, very relevant in the country. There is, for example, also in terms of biodiversity, it's an incredible place. For example, there is the Philippine star search, amongst the world's smallest primates, which is indigenous of these islands. Bohol is an island, is the island that we proposed in our project for the transnational mobility. Bohol has a lot of natural and cultural assets. It's very rich in terms of natural attractions, and it is a place that, from the touristic point of view, offers a lot of activity to the visitors. For example, organizing mountain hiking, trekking, camping, etc., etc. There's an incredible panoramic view of the sea and the coast, so it's very it's famous for photographs and that can make incredible photos of sunset and etc. etc. It's a fascinating scenario with the waterfalls, the hills. So it's in touristic terms, it's amazing. It's incredible, and it a lot of assets. As I told you, last December, a super typhoon Odette or Rai as called at international level made landfall in Philippines and slammed into the southern part of the country, including Bohol, which is one of the most affected areas by this typhoon. Here we are, where we have the words of the Major Constantino Reyes, which informed about the terrible situation in terms of lack of electricity, the damage to materials, the interruption of communication, the interruption of electricity, the problem to the hospitals, flooding in a lot of areas of the island, a lot of victims. We are talking about more than 100, and a displacement of families. We are talking about 23,000 of families as by the governmental data. And in general, this is a country, and this is an area which suffers a lot about the natural disaster, because every year around 20 between storms and typhoons affects the Philippines. Moreover, the archipelago is located in the seismically active region of the Ring of Fire of Pacific. So, so it's an amazing place, but which has to face every year with the challenge of a natural disaster. Now, so we have this is the scenario that we want to analyze and that we want to use to develop the strategy. Now we are going to move in three different rooms. You have two main questions to answer. The first one is starting from this definition. So that community-based tourism is proposed as a form of sustainable tourism, which seeks, on the one hand, to improve the socio-economic development of the population in local community of destination, and on the other, it aims to preserve and promote respect for the natural resources, heritage, culture, through the enhancement and implementation of the new sustainable forms of management. So, starting from this main definition, the first question is, do you consider that the tourism activity in Bohol is aligned to this model? And if yes or if not, explain your answer. So, after that you analyze this case, you can reply to this first question. And the second one is the crisis generated by the catastrophic events represent also an opportunity to guide the consumers and the suppliers of the chain towards the path of sustainability. In this framework, the tourism can be an instrument of recovery, that takes into account the balance between the needs and desire of people and the conservation of environment and resources in a long-term perspective. So the development of a community-based tourism is viewed as a strategy in the process of a human reactivation of the overall amount of actors and elements of a system after a natural disaster. So about this, do you consider that the community-based tourism can be applicable for the recovery of Bohol after the disaster? And try to explain your consideration about this. So we have two main questions. The first one is about the community-based tourism, and if you consider that Bohol has developed a system in line with community-based tourism, but the second one is if we consider the community-based tourism as a good strategy for the recovery of an area affected by a natural disaster, you can consider that community-based tourism can be applicable in Bohol, and why? Explain your answer. So I think that we can move. I ask to everybody to join also the presence of our friends from Philippines, because they have knowledge, deep knowledge about Bohol Island. And before moving to the rooms, I'm sending you in the chat. So please download from the chat. I'm sending you the presentation of Bohol case study. So when you move to the so now that you are going to move in the rooms, please take some minutes to read again the case study and try to reply to the two main questions that you can find at the end of the presentation.
20 minutes?
Yes, 20 minutes.
Okay.
And of course, you can use the Padlet link to write all the observation, consideration, and the replies.
Okay.
See you.
20 meetings. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Good day,
Hi.
Alice. Happy birthday.
Hello.
Hello.
Hola a todos. How you say hello in Philippine?
Mabuhay.
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 Mabuhay. Rolando.
Mabuhay, Sir Alexandros.
So, whoever is with us, I would like just kindly to open their camera, so to be sure that they are with us. So if Tanya and Mali are with us, just let us know. And you said Babuhay, Hola. Here in Greek we say Yasas.
Really, we say that?
We say Yasas. Yasas,
Okay.
Michali.
Yasas, Alexander.
Okay, so in this group we are very lucky because we have three Filipinos here, so they can help us a bit with the case study of Bohol. As Antonio has said, we want to see a bit the study of Bohol. You've seen it before, so from the Filipinos that are from there, maybe they can also add some additional information about that, and then we can discuss if Bohol is following the community-based tourism, and if not, what they can do now after the disaster to align a bit more with the community-based tourism. Is it okay?
Okay.
And we have a wonderful link of Padlet, so I will share it again with you. So everybody can write also their opinion there directly. Okay.
Perfect. So do you want to go over the presentation one more time quickly to see if something is missing or something in the description that you would like to add? What do you think? Because I'm very interested to know about these chocolate hills and
Yes.
what's going on there.
I think I would prefer to ask Rolando, Jennifer, and Joe Bless to tell us a bit more about the Bohol and guys.
Hi.
Hello.
So,
Hello.
mabuhay. So in Bohol, actually, personally, I wasn't able to visit the place, but because it is so famous in the Philippines, so it is known as the Chocolate Hills. Chocolate Hills, it's not literally means that you can eat the itself, okay, but it's just the color, okay, the appearance, so it looks like chocolates because of its color. And usually the visitors or the tourists in that place, the activities that are inclined with are of course more on hiking because it is a hill, so more on hiking, mountain climbing. So camping is the best activity being used to do in the place. So, but of course, there are also some culture that are being observed in Bohol. So, there are places that are not being accessible. So there are lots of beautiful places in Bohol or small places there, but unfortunately, due to lack of accessibility in the place, so they have they have a difficulty in reaching those place. Of course, with also the people there living in that place. And the electricity currently, because of the disaster, are very affected. I had some classmates there in our graduate school. Then until now, they are suffering from an loss of electricity. So you see, it's already been a month, but a month after the disaster, but unfortunately, the electricity is not yet stable. So we can observe already that even though it is famous place in the Philippines, but the effect of this kind of disaster really sad on that part, because if they have a hard time to recover. Even the government have a hard time to do something to help the people or the community in that place. So yun, that's it.
Okay, thank you very much. This is really sad to hear that after all this time, there's no, there's no help to the people there. So basically, the people have to survive by themselves, right? It's yeah, okay. I see.
Can I do one question about the chocolate hills? They are not made of chocolate. Okay, we understand this, and okay, we are not happy about it, but we can accept it. But I know that in Bohol there is a chocolate production, no?
Yes.
Yes, Jennifer.
Yeah, aside from its endangered species like the Philippine tarsiers, if you're familiar with that, because that's those endangered species are basically one of the attractions in the Bohol. Bohol also has this productions of chocolates, and one of the beneficiaries of the many of the government initiatives in making Bohol a nice place is the chocolate, really. So basically, they are being affected by this pandemic and this disasters. As of this moment, we have planned this weekend to go there for a need assessment, just to clarify and check all the details that were posted in the internet, in the news article. So, like what I've said, they have been affected by these disasters.
Do you know if this chocolate production or cocoa production, I don't know exactly what it is, do you know if it is managed by the government or is it managed by the locals? How does it work exactly? Do the locals get the benefits?
Yeah, they're getting a lot of benefits from this. Many investors try to help small enterprises just to invest on chocolate and to produce chocolate. If you're familiar with Dalrich chocolate, these are one of the famous producers of chocolates in the Philippines. So they're made from natural products, and they have been sponsored by small local government units.
Just to support the story, in Italy, we had one of the representatives there of this company, and we also had the chance to try the chocolate, which was delicious.
Yeah. You would love it.
Yeah. Okay. And so guys, do you want to, because we have many people here from Philippines, if you want to ask also as well, we wanted to discuss a bit more how to understand a bit how the community is supported through the tourist model that was so far in Bohol. So how the local people were supported as well. What is the structure? Yeah, first point is this. I don't know if someone else from Philippines. I don't know. Actually, from Philippines, I understand that Jennifer is from Bohol, no?
No.
You're
From
not
Manila. Most of us are from Manila,
okay,
and then we're flying there this weekend for needs assessment
okay.
and to capture the actual experience of the Boholians.
Okay. So yes, my question maybe to Rolando or to Tanya is, do you know how this community model works there? So is it big infrastructures that support the local people, or do the local people also somehow organize themselves? Do they try also to promote cultural elements or handicraft elements, or I don't know, do you know any initiatives by the local people in a community scale?
Actually, there is one particular university that I went when I was in Bohol. They are actually teaching minorities and the people of Bohol to learn something or to learn the skills needed to make productions. Most of their productions are actually, for example, bags, production of bags, production of chocolates or delicacies, sweets like broas, and even the tablea. And even a small like remembrance, like souvenirs. They have also this kind of livelihood programs, in which I think the community-based tourism model is actually suitable for this, for Bohol.
Okay, Jennifer, thanks a lot. What else? I think also, for example, sometimes when we visit a place, there are also some tours through communities themselves that you know, they show you a bit how they do their food, their daily activities. I don't know if there is such a thing in Bohol as well that you are aware of.
Yeah. the local people in the province of Bohol are also doing or serve as a tourist guide. So because they know the place, so they will serve as the tourist guide for the tourists to roam around the place, and of course to serve the best delicacies or the food products of the Bohol. So they want to experience the food, the native food of the province. So that's why they are the one to serve it for the tourists. So yes, they guide them and then serve as a tourist guide for them.
Because the Philippines has been colonized by the Spanish. So we have different structures, different architecture that display historical aspect of the Philippines.
And one not last, but one question more is that, do you think, I mean, from the touristic production, do the local people benefit also as a source of income, or is it like big resorts that take all the visitors and the money, and the local people are not getting benefited from it so much? What is the situation there? Because, for example, in some examples in Greece, it's what I tell you, that there are big resorts that they get the money and the local people do not also receive part of the income. So in Bohol, how is it working?
I do not sure about that, but definitely when the tourists arrive, there are actually like transportations. Drivers can take advantage of the transportation of foreigners and other tourists around Bohol. So basically, I think they also get take advantage of those things. Yes.
Jobless, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, though it is not that huge amount of money they receive, because I think the government have a regulatory law, something like that, policies being implemented in the province. So they can receive directly from the tourists, but in terms of the because we have also the capitalist of running the business in the Bohol, so of course more the payment for the from the tourists will be directly to the government itself. So only a small amount, yes, they can receive benefits from that, and they can they have some develop a livelihood, like at what's Jennifer mentioned, that they created a small tokens or souvenir items, so that can be sell to the tourists. So that thing they happy for that.
Yes.
Los chicos desde México quieren hablar, quieren comentar algo.
From the programs, from the tourism itself, it can generate a lot of jobs. So what hinders them now to continue it is because of the disasters they are experiencing right now.
Are there ideas now, after the disaster, to reorganize the touristic model in a more sustainable model? Are there any ideas, I mean, or lessons to be learned to do things differently? I know that, I mean, what can we do from now on to support the local people in their touristic activities? Do you know, is there any plan from Bohol, from the government, from the local people?
Well, we're going to find out that maybe next meeting or next week, but definitely we can help a lot, because based on the CBT that you have mentioned, that the presenter mentioned earlier, socially, economically, we can help them, teach them about how to recover from the disaster, and even the livelihood program can be of help to them, especially giving or financing them to work out on their resources.
Yeah, it sounds like it needs to be an effort from the government, first of all, in order to give the power to the locals, because okay, the locals themselves, they might be able to organize themselves, but first they have to recover. You know, if you have the disaster, if you don't recover, then you cannot build something new, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very difficult situation, but I think that because it is an island that has not a lot, but it has some natural resources that can be taken advantage. So, for example, you have the chocolate production, you have of course the beaches and all that kind of stuff, and the hills that tourists can come. So there is a lot of wealth, but you need a plan in order to do it. And I agree that teaching the locals first is quite important, and also financing them. Yeah. Is there a similar maybe situation in Mexico? Maybe it has happened something like that in the past. Do you know
in
of
Veracruz,
something?
for example, after the storm, or in there are a lot of earthquakes, I know, in Mexico.
Yeah, of course. Overall, at the south of the country, it's very common because there is a fire that connect with the California fail. So it's common have earthquakes in the south, and it's similar because they are near to the beach, to the sea. So they also are affected by this kind of disasters. Just a comment. I thought that the chocolates, it was like the shape of these mountains because it's like a pyramid, like the chocolates Hershey's.
Yes, and the color and the color.
Yes.
Yeah, you know these little boxes that have like many chocolates in there, and then you eat them one by one. Yeah, yeah. Okay, it seems like our time is running out. So yeah, we will have to also tell the others what we discussed soon. Okay, so see you in the main room.
Bye.
Okay. Thank you, guys. Thank you much.
Okay, we are coming in the general room.
We're glad to see you again, Antonio. We missed you a bit.
Yes, our room was nice, but not perfect. You know, almost perfect. Now with Antonio, it's okay.
Okay, we are slowly come back to the general. Okay, guys. It was very interesting the work in the room. Okay, Liza, it's not a problem. So we move to we analyze the three groups. I'm going to share my screen so you can see so you can see the Padlet. Okay, and we start from the group number 1. So I ask to Elena to explain the 2 questions and what we discussed.
Okay, so the first question was if we consider that tourist activity in Bohol is currently aligned to the model of community-based tourism. We talk about that we think that more or less because in this case they have big resorts, like they have the traditional tourism, like big resorts and everything very traditional, but also it was mentioned that they have activities, for example, on the Chocolate Mountains, that they have natural touristic activities. So we think it's half and half, but it's not, we cannot say that all of the tourism in Bohol is community-based tourism. Another thing that we knew about this is that the people that works on tourism in Bohol, they are very respectful with their source of income. So that's why they are like very responsible with all the resources that they have. So well, when this statement, it's aligned to the community-based tourism. So that's why we thought that they are like a 50% CBT and 50% traditional tourism. And then for the second question, that it was like if we consider that the CBD can be applicable to a strategy for the recovery of the typhoon. We discussed that we think that it's a very good way to recover, because, well, first of all, they are gonna need a touristic strategy. But following the statements of the CBD is a good option because this way of tourism doesn't need a big investment. So it's gonna be very easy for them, like with the strategy, to start a community-based tourism strategy and to start like getting their money back, and then that will allow them to like invest a little more. Also, because the youth people can be involved, as for example, helping out with the tours or being touristic guides, and also helping them with the social media, for manage social media, and that will bring more tourism to their areas. So yeah, we think it's a very good strategy, and also they can follow, for example, the strategy in some communities as the Chocolate Mountains and the coffee producers. So that's it.
Okay, thank you so much, Ellen. And we move to the group number 2.
Yes, of course. I don't know if Maria or Vale or Andy. Vale, if you want.
Okay. So basically, we totally agree about that. Actually, the local population don't have the community-based tourism in the area. There are many private resorts. We understand that it's mostly in private sector or managed by private sector. But it's going to be a good opportunity to apply the community-based tourism in the area, especially after the disaster, especially to recover the social and economic situation in the area. Also because social issues are really important for tourists, so they can be an opportunity to change the situation from mass tourism to a mostly community-based tourism. Also, we speak about how to get comfort, how to get help now to the local population. And we say that it's not only about economic support, but also it's psychological support, because it's really important to say to the people that it's not over, that action could be get, and also solution could be get, and maybe community-based tourism could be an opportunity for the local population to say, okay, don't worry, we can manage to recover your economic situation, also apply a new model. That's we think.
Okay, Vale, thank you so much. Very interesting. And now we move to the group 3.
Okay, so we had a very interesting discussion about this island of Bohol. And so would you like to tell us, maybe, Jobless, what we discussed?
Okay, so we discussed about Bohol. Why is it called Chocolate Hills? But we cannot eat the hills alone. So because of the color of the hills during the summertime, so it turns into a brown, from grassy green to brown. So that's why it has been called chocolate. Then aside from that, it's because of the product, one of the product of the Bohol, which is the chocolate. The Lai Rich is the name of the product, made from tablea, okay, from a cacao. Okay, so that is one of the product from Bohol. So locals also have an income, not only resorts, but it's not a large amount because of the government have a regulatory law. So community base is suitable for Bohol. University in Bohol teaches locals how to take advantage of local resources for the tourist reasons, and they have to teach locals how to recover from the disasters first before financing them, so that they know how to handle or to recover from the disaster. So that is what we discuss about the from the group 3.
And one thing to add is that it's important before recovering, as you said, to restore the infrastructures, because it's also, there are some steps to be done in order gradually to start changing the model, restoring the tourism and all.
Okay. Thank you so much. Excellent work. I think it was very, very important because today is the first time that we analyze deeply the island, and we are making this first analysis of the island. In general, I think that from the 3 groups, we can see that we have in the touristic strategy in Bohol, we had some elements of community-based tourism, but maybe not fully a community-based tourism, because we see that, for example, population depends in part from tourism, that there is natural tourism with hiking, etc., etc. So the community is in some part involved, especially in natural tourism activities, but not totally, for example, in the management of touristic activity. We see that, but for example, on the other hand, we see that there is a process about the development of the social enterprise about tourism, for example, with the chocolate enterprises. So with the social enterprises, we have a way to manage the touristic offers from the private sector, but not from the foreign enterprises. So, and we have 2 different plans. The first one is about the recovery of infrastructure, etc., etc. So to restart the normal living in the community, and on the other hand, we have the need for developing a new strategy. And I think that from the 3 groups, we see that the community-based strategy can be totally applicable in the case of Bohol, in the island of Bohol. So I think that this is very important. It's very good in terms of, we can start from now. And okay, guys, next week we will discuss a new topic about, and Action Synergy will be in charge of the next webinar. And okay, guys, so thank you so much. I don't know if you have any question. Okay, so guys, thank you so much. Thank you for your work. Thank you for excellent work. And we see next week. We are going to send you an email with the information about the asynchronous activity that you are going to implement. But I ask you just to spend another second.
And especially thank you to the team of Philippines for your contributions and for help us to understand better this case. And thank you very much for your work.
And thank you to Eliseo for your contribution today. And guys, as always, a picture. So I ask you to smile in 1, 2, and 3. Okay, that's great.
Thank you,
so much,
Antonio.
guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, everybody. See you
Thank
next
you.
week.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Bye.